everybody. Welcome back to Relentless Talk Radio. I am here with Anne-Marie Spilotro. I don't know if I say your last name right. Did I say it right?
You
This
did.
is like with me in Relentless Talk Radio. It's like I thought to ask, like, hey, I should get everybody's name like right on the beginning, but I kind of like, showing people how to find out how to say someone's name.
You did it.
You know what I'm saying? So now we know who you are. Tell everybody what you do.
Hi, everybody. Obviously, my name is Anne-Marie Spilotro, and I'm a health and nutrition coach. I also do some personal training on the side, and I'm working on another certification in sports nutrition.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that before that. I love it when you get to know people and you're like, oh, cool, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So why? Because you were just telling me pre-radio that you were in the mortgage business, ironically. You're a mortgage person on segment 2. You were in the mortgage business before you started with Isogenics and growing your fitness business and your health and wellness business. So why did you make that shift?
So I was in the mortgage business for 15 years, and when I was introduced to Isogenics, I was obviously going to an office, and I just had a little baby. She was 6 weeks old when I went back to work, and my son was 18 months. And at 6 months is when I just hit a wall physically. And then leaving my kids at home was not a very happy thing for my heart, but I really did not start Isogenics for the business at all. In fact, I was very skeptical and quiet about it. But when I lost almost 40 pounds and 50 inches, like overnight, and had all this energy, and then I was doing both kind of half in, half out. So 2 years ago, I just said, I'm not renewing my license. I love helping people get houses and all of that. But what I loved more, what I found my passion to be, is really helping everybody just get healthier bodies to live out of, because I know how it impacted me.
So that's, I wasn't blessed with having children. So I think it's awesome that you decided that you wanted to take your health back. I watched all my girlfriends do it. And some of them were able to take their health back, and some of them still, their kids are 12, 13, 15, they're in college now and starting to have babies of their own. They never got their body back. So what made you kind of had a short learning curve with that? What made you decide that you needed to kind of take your body back quicker than later?
Oh, because I have had an eating disorder since 7th grade. And while I'm fine now, but I started to slip back into it when my daughter was a baby. I found myself making excuses, binging, just getting into not a healthy headspace.
Right.
And I just look in the mirror, and I'm raising 2 children, one of them being a girl. I'm like, I wanted me back.
Right.
I wanted my energy and everything. And I just went for it, and it changed my life in so many ways, because we all have excuses. We all have fear of being judged, or you're having a shake or whatever, or you're skinny, you're fat, whatever it is. You just have that fear. But when you just get on the other side of it, and that's what I did. And I still do. I mean, I'm a work in progress. I think we all are, practice makes better. There's no such thing as perfect. So it's a daily commitment to myself to be there for them, healthy for as long as I'm alive, because I don't want to burden them with not being healthy. And I wanted to get my sexy back. Come on.
Yeah, no kidding, right? I mean, and hey, I just saw you on the beach, because you just actually went down to, where were you, Costa Rica?
Grand Cayman.
Grand Cayman. I knew the summer were fantastic, and I was like, wow, look at that girl go. That's awesome. 2 babies later. That's really terrific. So what do you think the biggest lesson is that you've learned since you've started your health and wellness company?
Really to meet people where they're at, and to be accepting of no's. It might not be their time. To me, a no is a not right now, because I truly believe everybody deserves health. But to be consistent and be honest, and just really meet people where they're at. Because not everybody's
so smart. That's so smart, because not everybody's ready when you want them to be ready, right? I mean, I just talked about some of my girlfriends, and they're not ready yet, Yeah. They're just not ready yet. So that's interesting. So the no meaning not right now. I love that. I've heard it before, but I love that idea of.
Well, because I said no when I
yeah,
no, And it really, then like you can also look at somebody as like an onion, you know, and the more it's, this is a connection business. This is not just a sign up. Here's a program and bye bye, you know.
Right.
But I have found that the more I work with people, they sometimes say the cost, which I don't believe. It really is about fear of failure. A lot of people have started and stopped so many different diets.
Right.
They're afraid
Right.
to invest in themselves. So it's really getting down to that why, almost meeting them there and working with them. And I've had people, great transformations, and they completely went backwards and then they came back again. And I've had people tell me no, and then they finally say yes. I
Right.
know what difference it will make, but you can't, you know, what is the old, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, you know? So, I mean, it is kind of that, like, you just have to and be consistent, you know?
Well, I talked about this last week where I just meet people and create relationships and I collect nuts. Like I'm like I'm a hamster. Like I'm a squirrel. You know what I mean? I just collect nuts and I don't know how I'm able to help someone or what, who I know that I can introduce them to or, I don't ever look at somebody like a sale. I always just look at, hey, I'm just out there meeting people and, it might be just a friendly, you're there when they're having a bad day or you have something that they need that someone that can help them or something that I'm doing can be helpful or
Mm-hmm.
you just have a good friend. So I don't really look at people like,
No.
I don't prospect as the case
Yeah.
may be. I just create relationships and collect nuts.
Jeff and I were just in Napa, and I
Yeah.
made so many new friends, not with an intention of, hey, you're going to join my team at all, just
Right.
because these people were amazing. And
Yeah.
one of them's coming out in March, her husband and wife, they're going to come out in March, and they invited us on her 50th cruise next year. I was like, okay. And we
Yeah.
met some fascinating people, and you never know who you can help with a different, like, connecting, other people with other people. So I don't know. I look at, like, you and I were master connectors. We talk
Yeah.
to people, and if we could fill the need or know somebody else that could fill the need, it kind of, and that's what I love. I mean, I love what we do because we get to meet people and talk to people and getting out of your comfort zone. Like, you know how hard it is sometimes for people just to say, like, hello in a grocery store, like, hey, I love your shoes,
I know.
just like little things. But you
Right.
also can make somebody else's day.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm constantly complimenting people all day long. You know what I mean? Like, and babies, I grab all their toes, and I'm never lonely because I'm always there's people everywhere, right? You and I met when we were in Vegas. I actually came out to Vegas to meet the Isogenics leadership and kind of get a feel for the company that I was trying to make a decision on whether or not I was going to partner with for Relentless Talk Radio. And we met in Vegas and we went out to dinner. And I was actually cleansing that day, so I wasn't even eating. Which I think people are like, oh, I could never do that. I could never go to dinner and just like not eat. I'm like, sure you could. You can go out and have a drink. I mean, I had a drink. I had greens that I was there, and I had a great experience. But on the way home, you suggested that we sing Bohemian Rhapsody when we got to the party. And that's a perfect example of just creating lots of relationships, right? There was about 10 of us and we sang Bohemian Rhapsody at the top of our lungs, and the CEO of Isogenics was watching us and just laughing. And that's just all about like creating relationships and having fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a great time, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. And that
And it
was
was
fun
different,
being
it
with
was
everybody in the
different fun,
car,
right?
and it was videoed, and that was like one of the funnest moments for sure.
That was super fun. So how about getting out of your comfort zone? So you and I are kind of similar in this way. We're both Italian, so we've got kind of big personalities, and we haven't been beaten with the shy stick. So we have different out of our way, different comfort zones than some people might have, but we still have zones where we're less comfortable, right? So when have you gotten out of your comfort zone and had to be a big win?
I really think doing doing the personal training and now doing the nutrition and just reading and doing things I'm not necessarily that good at. Like, me sitting down with a book it's not very easy for me. I almost have to force myself to do it, but I know what's going to come out on the other end is more brain food. And then I'm a single mom. Becoming a single mom was probably the biggest decision and comfort zone, uh,
Yeah.
jump, deciding to leave and jump in with both feet with Isogenics and build a team. And I've been with the company for over 6 years. And there's a few times when not necessarily my team, but our overall team, I mean, some had well, she just got removed from the company. But like, I had a lot of excuses to give up, but I wouldn't do that because I absolutely loved it. So sometimes the rug was pulled out from underneath us, or sometimes the rug gets pulled out from underneath us. But I think just keeping your skin in the game and keeping, driven and getting out of the comfort zone to get, not to get back into it, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's, I've been, a lot of things have happened that made me really uncomfortable, but then it's like, okay, how am I going to better myself? So what do I have to go do? Oh, I have to go back to classes, or, oh, I have to go, move or whatever. So I think it's just,
It gets you to think about what the next indicated right
you have to get uncomfortable or else things will
now.
never change,
Yeah,
period.
you end up staying in a bad marriage, or you stay in a bad job, or you stay in a situation that no longer works because you don't want to be uncomfortable, taking the risk. And I have to say, I didn't have children, like I said earlier. So the you single moms that are out there supporting yourself as entrepreneurs it's a really huge deal. So that today is actually International Women Entrepreneurship Day. I was listening to the news this morning with Doc, and it's like, wait, hang on. And sure enough, today in 144 countries is Women's Entrepreneurship Day. So, I mean, there's some pretty crazy statistics about the fact that women have the numbers are irrelevant. We make the most of the financial decisions. But contrary to popular belief, women make most of the financial decisions in the house. And we also make the less amount of money. So, I think that what's cool about working in the company that we work with is that there's no ceiling, and that some of the top producers for our company are actually women who are single moms, who who have lost their homes, were homeless, had their kids with their parents for a bit, just really had stepped right out there on the ledge by choice or not, and got comfortable being uncomfortable and just made a change in their life and built something worth bragging about.
I love our company and how how everybody has an equal playing field. And it's not an easy decision to make, especially if you're a single parent, male or female. But to see the opportunities out there, but the opportunity at hand to have the time with your kids, to raise them. My son's sitting over there on the couch. I picked him up early from school because we were doing this, and I have the freedom to go do that. So to create a freedom legacy for my children, hands down, is more important than when I was going to an office. And I took a pay cut? Absolutely, when I moved, because I made a lot more money before in, residential lending, and I owned a mortgage company. So, I mean, but it's worth it. So sometimes you have to look at your life and where you want it to be in 5 or 10 years, because nothing changes if nothing changes. And if you're worried about what other people think about it, then you're going to be in the same rut. And it's not for everybody. I mean, I know a lot of very successful women who, kind of do this on the side, and they have their careers and everything, and that's awesome. But I love seeing women kind of rise up and go against the status quo. And the fact that it's National Entrepreneurship Day is awesome. I love that.
So December 4th is actually a day where they're asking people to choose women. And so if you're going to buy for Christmas, to try to choose a women-owned company, or if it was a local women-owned company, even better, right? But to try to think about choosing to buy something from a women-owned company, which is pretty cool. So we were talking about some of the things that we wanted to talk about. And one of them we touched on earlier, which is about food addictions and disorders and just issues with food. So I was a gymnast growing up, and I don't think I chose to have an eating disorder by choice. I think it was by force. I had a coach that if you weighed in 3 pounds overweight, he would give you a sack of potatoes and make you run until you threw up. That's the kind of training I came up to. So it took me, for me to step back and say, my hamstring's strained, I'm going to slow down, is difficult, because in the back of my head, my food and my activity is directly linked. So I have to shut down the committee in my head sometimes. But when you've had an eating disorder, it definitely, you touched on it earlier, but you want to be an example to your daughter. You're in a unique position to help the people, because it's not just women who have eating disorders, there's men that have eating disorders as well, to make some different choices around their eating. So tell me about how you're committed to helping folks that have eating disorders.
Oh, huh. I I really go from a place of service because I didn't talk about it for a very long time, probably until my 30s. Like people knew, my family knew, my dad, like they knew. But if it would come up, I would get very defensive. I didn't like want that. I didn't want people to know that. It's like a silent, something about me. So when I see people, men and women on my team, um, that battle, I mean bulimia, anorexia, overeating, food addictions, you name it, like it's very sensitive, and it's so important to really kind of love yourself and to release. And it takes work, but to release, like, okay, it's just a piece of X, Y, or Z. It's not going to make or break you. And to teach, and that's one thing I love about our company, is that it helped me heal my uh, my issues around food. It gave me the strength to know that I have balance in my body, I have balance in my life. I can eat this and then eat that. I don't go crazy with food usually, but to then teach that to somebody else that may not believe it, or maybe too scared to ask or talk about it. So that's kind of where I come from, is like, how can I help you as an individual get over those humps and road bumps? And they're not easy. Some of it's hard work, and a lot of people don't believe it, and they just want to go either way that they were going. So I think it's just important for me.
You just brought something up that's interesting to me that I realized that I like having a program like the one that we follow because I do feel guilty every time I eat. Anytime I put food in my mouth, here I am, 52 years old. I started being a gymnast when I was 8.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still in the back of my mind. Like last night, Doc and I went out and I had half a roll. And I went, in my brain, I was like, you shouldn't be eating that. My coach is constantly in my head. And it's something, I guess it was kind of cool for me to look at this anti-carb thing that we all talk about. I've eaten paleo, where I definitely am sensitive to carbs, so I've got to be careful about it. But I love it when we hear our chief science officer talk about how the brain needs carbs to function.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain needs carbs, and there's definitely a way to eat carbs that's healthy. And so our program is balanced 40% protein, 30% carbohydrate, and 30% oil. And that's a healthy balance. And so therefore I can have a half a roll and not want to kill myself. Now, for people who don't have an eating disorder like this, they don't get what that, they're like, what are you talking about? You just had a roll. I mean, get over it. So what? But I think there's a lot of people that walk around feeling guilty about eating because everyone's constantly on a diet, right? And so I think that, being on a program that tells you, hey, this is what you can eat and how you can eat and what's good for you, and that it does include yummy things like a piece of bread once in a while.
Mm-hmm. I think that's when I started, I really was having some emotional issues, and I was binging a lot. I was making excuses. So I think when I started and I had the structure that allowed me to have a slice of pizza and not beat myself up over it, or
Right.
or even like I've retrained my brain in such a ways of like making cauliflower pizza, making mashed potatoes out of cauliflower, like doing all these different healthy swaps to where you're still enjoying,
You
but
had
you're
some really
also
good cauliflower stuffing at Friendsgiving that was
yes,
excellent.
yes. So
Yeah.
those little things, and so working with people with that.
Getting
But
creative is a good thing, right?
what?
Getting creative is a good thing with your food to kind of switch things up.
Absolutely. And if you want that piece of bread, I mean, I had this amazing home baked bread at this restaurant up in California the other day, and I had it with butter, and I had zero guilt. Back in the
Yeah.
day, I would
Yeah,
have
you'd be beating
hurt.
up, and Alyssa Glutz is saying that this is such an important conversation. She's also has color my career as a mortgage person, but she's also been a fitness expert in the past too. So it's just a super important conversation to have around the guilt that we feel around eating. And so when I eat the isogenics way, I realize it's not a diet; it's a lifestyle for me. And
Mm-hmm.
so that helps me to That frees me up from a lot of chatter in my brain about my forced or by choice at this point eating disorder. So one of
Well,
the things
carbs are so important too, the right carbs.
Oh, the right carbs, absolutely. So one of the things we talked about was that to learning to move on, whether it's heartache or that old story about being the fat girl or whatever it is, to move on to the old story and then start the new story and actually open your heart up to have self-love so that you can love yourself enough so you can move forward with a new life, whether it's love or it's business or whatever. And that's a really important topic. So what do you think about all that?
Oh, yeah. I think that you definitely have to love yourself, and you have to give yourself grace, and you have to not beat yourself up with the past. I think a lot of us do. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't have some days where I'm like, like thoughts get into my head. I'm like, okay, I need to remove myself. I need to go outside and go on a walk. I need to go to yoga. I need to go to the gym. I need to go do something to appreciate my body. Like I'm alive. I'm healthy. I'm happy. Like all of these things that are. I've worked very hard. So I think giving yourself grace and getting back to self love to be able to move on and move forward.
I love that you talk about giving yourself grace. To give yourself the grace to move forward is so important. I think that sometimes people think that if they've made a mistake in a relationship, maybe they settle for abuse in a relationship.
The last one? Sorry, my little girl.
This is actually a very interesting time. Hey there, Peanut. This is a very interesting time for us to have a radio show because over the past several shows, the folks that I've been interviewing are single parents or they're just parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the life of the entrepreneur. And one of the reasons why we choose to be entrepreneurs as women and as single men that are single parenting as well is to be able to be there for our children. Mm-hmm. And if I'd had children, I would have remained an entrepreneur because I wanted to be home with my children. And so I think that being an entrepreneur is and giving yourself that grace to be that mom that's there when the school bus comes to the curb. My mom did that. My mom and dad had a business and I was able to be there. They were able to be there for me on the curb, which is great. I think we just lost you. You still there? Shoot. Oh, yeah, Marie, I think we got a funky internet connection. Maybe she'll come back so we can say goodbye. Well, one of the things we were talking about, there she is. Yay, you're back. You had a funky internet connection.
No, somebody was calling me from Isogen.
Oh,
I was like,
remember to turn your phone on do not disturb. So giving yourself grace to be able to be the mom that you want to be, but also to be able to move on with your life in a way that maybe wasn't what you initially expected.
Well, that, and also to show up, like to show up as a sister, to show up as a friend, to show up as a teacher helper. I do art mom to show up,
Yeah.
We get lost. I mean, a lot of people just get like ho hum day to day, and to show up, it doesn't take much to shift your mindset, but it does,
I do know. I mean, it's amazing once you've shifted your mindset into getting uncomfortable and being comfortable with it, giving yourself grace and moving forward. You hang on so tight to the old, because you don't want to get hurt or you don't want to hit the risk. But once you let go of it and you move forward, you're like, why was I putting that off for so long?
You know what else a huge thing is like we do tribe time. When I started and I shifted the people I was hanging around with, and this is about a year and a half ago when I joined Tribe Time, like the people who you surround yourself with is so important, because you can have the Debbie Downers, and the people that want to suck you down and the energy vampires. But when you surround yourself with like-minded people, motivated people, they don't have to be with your company. They could be doing something totally different, but you support and uplift each other, and that's a huge part of it. Well,
Alyssa is saying on social media, we all have to make it work. It's not always easy, she says. She wants to. And she started a group called Claxy Women. You'll hear more about it in the next episode around creating an opportunity. If I haven't invited you to that group, I definitely will. I put a little note here to invite you to Claxy. around creating like a place where like-minded individuals can meet and get to know each other. And I have a group called the Hot Tamales, which I think you're part of, where I get together with about 90 women are invited it grows every month, right? Exponentially. We go to dinner like every 6 weeks or so we can support each other. And that's just part of, I think one of the things that I've learned about taking care of myself, giving myself grace and getting out of my comfort zone is to give myself a tribe of people who are going to support that mentality, that way of thinking. Because if you're constantly around the people that are like, oh, don't do that, you're gonna get hurt, or this is scary or that's scary, then you're never gonna grow, you're never gonna shift. It's like being at Thanksgiving, not Thanksgiving dinner, but any meal, right? You go home to your family and they just want you to eat all the bad stuff for you, and they undermine your progress because they are invested in you continue to be unhealthy, and or how they show love is by giving you food, right?
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
It really is. Like I know my kind of my family, but I see people who are like, oh, it's the holidays. I'm like, there's 2 days. It's
Yeah,
not 3 months.
right.
I mean,
Right.
it really Thanksgiving, Christmas, but
Right.
it
Right.
really breaks my heart when they're like, oh, I can't, or my family, or it's like, I just wish sometimes, and family's the hardest too. I wish people were more vocal to their family, saying this is
Yeah.
what I'm doing, and kind
Yeah.
of stand up for themselves and not worry about their chatter, because there
Yeah.
will always be chatter in families. But then for families, whoever it is, to be like, okay, I'm going to support you. Like, bring something, or can we have something alternative, or whatever it is.
My mom has gotten really good at this. She's always been good at this, quite frankly, because she knows I have this food thing. She says to me, when I'm coming to visit, what should I fill the fridge with?
Oh, I love that.
And now my mom is actually doing a different program and it's working for her. Not every program the program we work isn't for everybody. My mom does Weight Watchers and she loves it.
Right.
Because she needs to go to a place with the other ladies and have physical contact with them. And that's just, there's something about Weight Watchers that works for her. So it doesn't matter what program you do, whether it's paleo or keto or isogenics or Weight Watchers. There's lots of different ways you can eat healthy. You have to find what works for you. People ask me, how should I eat, Michelle, or how should I work out? And I say, well, do the one that you're going to do. Right? I mean, like if isogenics, if you're not a shake and bar person, okay, find something do Weight Watchers where you have to count your points. If you're not a point person, do isogenic. There's lots of different ways to get healthy. You don't have, it's not just one way, it's not just our way. Which is why I talk to lots of different leaders across the industry, because I don't care how you get healthy. I don't care how you're inspired. I don't care what I say that can encourage you to discover your best self. I just want you to go, well, maybe I'll consider doing something differently, or maybe I'll take a leap. Or maybe I'll stop being, upset about what people are saying or doing. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to be me, and I'm going to do me, and screw you. If there's something I can say or do or introduce people to that can help people to see that's what I'm most interested in.
Absolutely.
And I think that when you choose to be of service, we talked about this before, is for you, it's about service comes first, right?
Yep. I have people who want keto, who want macro, who want this, who want that. I'm like, okay, let's figure it out for you. Come up with your own individual plan.
Right. Absolutely. For sure. So Anne-Marie, I have at the bottom of the screen, joinannemarie.com, that people can work with you. Is there any other way they can get a hold of you?
So that's my landing page website. It's just like a short form. You can find me on Facebook.
Yeah.
Right. Anne-Marie Spilatro. Instagram is AM Spilatro. And then you can call me up, that random thing when people do this sometimes.
Or text, right? What's your telephone number?
602-574-7445. And you could call, text, however.
Spell your last name for the folks that are on podcast eventually.
Sure. So it's ANN-MARIE. And then Spilotro, or Spilatro if you're in Chicago. That's where I'm from originally. It's the Oz. It's SPILOTRO.
Well, awesome. I really appreciate your time. I really, I just adore you. I think that you bring something very unique to the table. I thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. Absolutely adore your heart, and I love watching
Aw.
you on this journey. It's blessed to have met you last spring.
And I'm so excited because we have lunch on Friday.
I
I can't
know.
wait to see you in person.
I know.
So see you Friday.
Yeah, see you on Friday.
Yeah.
I'm going to be watching the rest of this from my computer.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
I'm gonna go get Alyssa.
Okay.
Cool.
Can I just hang up?
Yeah, you just hang up.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. So I'm going to go sign off here and go get Alyssa for segment 3 of Relentless Talk Radio. So hang on. I'll be right back.